Hello children, in this video we are going to study microorganisms. What are microorganisms? Microorganisms are very tiny living things which cannot be seen with our naked eyes. To see them we require instruments with huge magnification power, and this huge magnification power is given to us by a microscope. A microscope is an instrument which has a great magnification power. It could help us see these microorganisms and their structure very clearly. Magnifying glasses are also there, but then they just give us the outline. Hence, a microscope is something that is helpful here. Just like other living organisms, microorganisms are also classified broadly into four main groups. That is bacteria, fungi, protozoa and some algae. Why some algae? Because some of the algae are so big that you could see it with your naked eyes. So not all algae are microorganisms. Just for example, seaweeds are kind of algae, but we could see it with our naked eyes. That's why they are not all microorganisms. So the broad classification is first one bacteria, then next fungi, then we have protozoa, and lastly we have some algae. Now we already know that viruses are also microscopic, but then they are not included in the classification. Why is it so? Because they are different. They require a host. Without the host they cannot do anything. They lie dormant, and after a while when they get a host, it can be a plant cell or animal cell or a bacterium, they start reproducing, and that's how they regenerate. Now let's have a look at how these microorganisms look in actuality. The first one that you're going to see is a bacteria. Bacteria can come in various shapes and structures, like a capsule or a circle spherical ball like thing, but they are always in cluster. Generally how the bacteria looks is what is shown here. In this slide, we are looking at the three-dimensional picture of a fungi, how it looks like in real life. That's what is seen here. And in the next slide, we are seeing the two-dimensional structure of a fungi. Basically, the fungi that we know in our day-to-day life is bread mold. The mold that grows on the bread, the blackish grayish kind of thing that you see on the bread when it is kept for a longer time. Then we have penicillin and Aspergillus shown here. Now the next classification that we are going to study is called protozoa. Now protozoas are something that were found before the life actually began. The first unicellular organisms were protozoas. Here we could see amoeba and paramecium shown here as the two-dimensional picture. The next category is algae. How does an algae look? It's shown here. They are either long strand-like thing as in Spirogyra, or Chlamydonas shown here as kind of a bug-like thing, but they are very small so we cannot see with our naked eyes. Lastly, let us see how the microorganism called virus looks like. This is how a virus looks like. It has to have a host so that it could stick to them and then reproduce and regenerate itself so that it could get appropriate results and it could thrive there. That is why the viruses have such kind of thorny things, so that they could stick to other living organisms. This is how a virus looks like in two-dimensional figure. Now, the next question that arises in our mind is, where do these microorganisms live? Do they have any specific habitat, or do they live anywhere they like? Well, the answer to this is that they have multiple habitats and they are very adaptable. They can live in all types of environments, ranging from ice cold climate to hot springs. You could see them in deserts and in marshy lands, and you could find them on the very top of mountain to the very bottom of the sea. They could be found anywhere and everywhere because they are so small. They are not easily found out by the predators. That's why they are found any place. Now, the title of the chapter is Microorganisms, Friends and Foe. Now, friends, as in we know, they are beneficial for us. They somehow profit us. They give us a benefit. But then, how do they do that? First and foremost, the simplest example from our day-to-day life is making of curd from milk. This transformation or curdling of milk is brought about by a bacteria called lactobacillus. We have seen that so many times, but then this change is actually brought about by microorganisms. Next, we have already seen the bread, how it works, how is bread made. The bread, which is a little sour to taste. What brings about the sourness? It's a microorganism called yeast, which when put in bread changes the sugar from the flour into alcohol, therefore a little sourness, and that's how a bread gets its proper structure. Now next we could see that fermentation. Fermentation is something that converts sugar into alcohol. For example, you make idlis. That's the process of fermentation that's going to take place. So the similar kind of fermentation was actually discovered by Louis Pasteur in 1857. And that is another way in which these microorganisms help us, benefit us and profit us. These microorganisms are also useful for us in medicinal purposes. Say for example, the antibiotics that you are given when you are sick are actually extracted from various microorganisms like bacteria and fungi. These are actually used to kill the disease causing microorganisms which are a foe, which harm us. Those kind of microorganisms are combated using these kind of antibiotic tablets and injections, wherein the source of the medicine is a microorganism. So that is how these microorganisms help us even in our medicinal area. Now let us see who was the first guy who did this. Alexander Fleming in 1929 was the first person who had done something in this area. He was the one who was studying one of the disease causing bacteria, and he saw that the green mold as in fungus, was actually growing there and killing the disease causing bacteria. From that mold he created penicillin, which is even used today. So that is how we get to understand that microorganisms are actually beneficial in medical purpose. The next area wherein these microorganisms are beneficial for us is agriculture. These microorganisms actually help us increase the soil fertility and thereby increase the production, the crop production, and the increase in the food grain, which is beneficial for us. These microorganisms are actually biological nitrogen fixers, meaning they take in the nitrogen present in the air and transform it, convert it into nitrates, which are taken in by plants. Plants cannot use nitrogen directly from the air. They require nitrates, and these nitrates are given to the plant by rhizobium, which are present in the root nodules. And these nodules are actually protection for bacteria. So it's a kind of a symbiotic relationship. Symbiotic relationship means the relationship wherein both the partners are benefited, And here the plant is benefited because it gets nitrogen, that is nitrate, and the bacteria in return gets protection and shelter in form of root nodules. This is how the bacteria and the plant create a symbiotic relationship. That's all for now, and have a good day.